Good afternoon all, it's Postbag! Ooh, it's exciting, the sun's come out. Where should we start? How about this one? Daily necessities. What are they? So what could I possibly need on a daily basis? Well, I wouldn't imagine I'd need that on a daily basis. So this is a little encapsulated and potted in a little box there. DC to DC converter, it's 12 volts in, that's the D12, and it's got two 5 volt outputs, so it's 0505. I think the total power is 2 watts, so each of the 5 volt outputs is only good for 1 watt, and that means that it's about 200 milliamps. Now, the main reason I bought this little thing is because it's an isolated DC to DC converter. You can see here, DC-DC converter isolated. Power supply in is 9 to, what's that say? 9 to 18 volts. Actually, then here says 10 to 16 volts. Double out 5 volts. So it's got two 5 volt outputs, which are here, VO1 and VO2, and the two grounds for those two. And I'm hoping that these two outputs are going to be isolated from each other as well. Now, does it mean, because everything in here is isolated, transformer coupled, I presume, does it mean that I can parallel up these outputs to get the full 2 watts at 5 volts? Or is that going to be a problem? It's certainly something I'm going to try. So this item is DC to DC converter, isolated power in 10 to 16. Out 5 volts, it was $3.80 with 39 cents postage, and this one came from Giorgio 11185. Now, one of the reasons I bought this isolated converter is because of a question which keeps coming up time and time again, which is, can I put a TP4056 charger board onto a lithium cell, and then another one onto another lithium cell, and a third one, if there are 3 cells, onto a third lithium cell, hook them all up with the cells in series? In other words, can I charge the individual cells of a 3S LiPo pack? And the answer is, well, yes, as long as you don't let the ground points of these 3 charger boards come together. So if you've got 3 isolated supplies, like mains powered USB supplies, it'll be fine. If you attempt to parallel these up, for example on a multi-output USB adapter, it's going to go bang, because the ground on one and the ground on the other, well, the ground on this one, say, is at positive potential to this one. So join the grounds on these two together and bang, you put the full current of one of these cells through quite a small loop. So I want to do a video on this because it does keep coming up as a question, and we'll look at whether or not these isolated converters could do this, what it means to have an isolated converter, and whether you have to go down the mains isolation route. Now, the problem with this being only 2 watts, it looks like 1 watt per output, is that at 5 volts and 1 amp, which is the default setting on here, you'd need 5 watts. So you'd have to parallel up multiples of these. This wasn't massively expensive, but if you're putting 5 of these in parallel, or even 3, and then paralleling the 2 outputs as well, it still does come to a reasonable cost, and it may be easier just to parallel the main side and then have isolated supplies driving your 3 TP4056 boards. I don't know yet. I've got to think about this and have a bit of a play with it and decide what's best. Okay, next up we have, and I'm quite intrigued by this, a pulp tester. I mean, is that bulb tester? I don't even remember buying a bulb tester. Let's have a look inside. So what is a pulp tester? Or indeed a bulb tester. Yes, this looks interesting. Yes, so this thing I think is actually an electronic DC load. We've got 2 displays here. A run button. This is a sort of stepped, what do they call these things? rotary encoder, that's right. What have we got? We've got a 12 volt DC input, and I could plug my solar 12 volts in there, but I ought to just check what the range of that is first. I think the load attaches itself to these terminals. These are probably paralleled with that. And then we've got a heatsink here with a fan on it, because an electronic DC load, of course, has to dump the entire power that it receives somewhere, and it's got a giant size MOSFET on there. It looks like there's also a temperature sensor thermistor sort of bedded in with some thermal glue, possibly. Is that sticky or is that hard? No, that's hard, so that's probably thermal glue. And there's another device here. I just can't see that at the moment. Maybe I can with this torch. And that is an STPS something or other. Oh, 30S45. I can't work out whether that's another MOSFET or a regulator. Let's take a look at this thing on Banggood's website. So this is the item on Banggood's website. It's a multifunction 60 watt constant current electronic load battery capacity tester module. £15.87. I've got this set to pounds at the moment. Now there is some data here, but I can't see. It just says working power requirements 12 volts. It doesn't say what the tolerance on that is, but I'm thinking it's going to have some amount of tolerance. So I think I'm just going to plug this into my solar system, which is currently at 13.4. Note, this product is the professional testing equipment requiring the user must have a certain electronic infrastructure. Yeah, we got all that. Right, let's plug it in. Ooh, the fan gave a little bit of a blast there. Well, we've got 1.0 volts there. We've got 0.2, I'm assuming amps, because we've got a green light there next to A. Oh, there are some green lights in between the two displays as well. I'm not sure what they are. Okay, turning the knob turns up this, and that goes up to, well, if that's amps, how many amps is that going up to? Okay, 9.99 amps, so you can't see that very well. So let's bring that back down. No, you can't see that at all well. So that goes from what looks like 200 milliamps to 9.99 amps. Let me get something to shade the sun off this thing. Right, I've closed the blind so it's a little bit easier to see. Now if I press this button, it says it's running, and I assume it's accumulating. We don't seem to be able to adjust anything while it's running. Milliamp hours or amp hours, watt hours, but I don't know. That seems to run and stop. I can't work out yet how you switch between these different settings. I suppose I should read the instructions. Well, I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but I've hooked up a pack of Eneloop batteries. I was going to do a 9 volt because I didn't really want to stress anything, but 200 milliamps is a bit high for a 9 volt, and that's the minimum you can set this to. Now I've noticed when you start it, you get a voltage reading here. I think this other connector is for 4-wire measurements, so that you can take a separate pair of wires directly to the source for accurate measurements. Now I can adjust the current while it's running, 300 milliamps, 400 milliamps, 500 milliamps, and the voltage dips correspondingly. So it looks like that's all working and behaving itself. But what I can't work out how to do is switch it from volts to amp hours and watt hours, because there is only the one button. So I'll keep looking for some other button or something. Of course, I forgot that these rotary encoders also have a switch which, if you press it down, does something, and that has now enabled me to select amps, or at least hundreds of milliamps, and again I can now do tens of milliamps. Press it again, I do volts, and I've got a feeling this is the voltage at which the thing drops out. So I could set that to, for example, 4.5 volts and have that be when this thing terminates, and then perhaps it'll give me amp hours and watt hour readings. So let's do again 200 milliamps, start the thing going, and now force it to get down to 4.5 volts, which is a bit nasty. Has it finished? Perhaps I'll set a higher limit. Okay, I'll set it to 4.9 volts and start. The fan runs up. Now, I think the fan is adaptive. It goes faster as this thing warms up, but it's not going to warm up much at 200 milliamps. 300 milliamps. That's beeping now. So it's running without flashing at 4.93. It's running with flashing and beeping at 4.86 volts. So it doesn't seem to have actually terminated. Well, I think I'm just going to have to play with this until I've worked out the operating system. There are no instructions, and there aren't really any instructions on the on Banggood's website. But it looks like a lot of fun to play with. Now, I probably can find instructions if I look this up. It's a Zahiyu ZPB30A1 version 2.7. Not sure what 1510 is, but can probably find some information by looking that up. So yeah, I'll just play with this a bit more and try and work out what it does and see if I can find a manual for it. And in fact, on the website in the reviews, someone said, "I'm very pleased about the build quality, accurate reading. Pity there are no instructions available. I had to collect some instructions from eBay listings." So they're obviously out there. And next up, we have a wristband. Right, let's open the wristband. The sun is just encroaching ever more onto my mat. And these are the holes in the Venetian blinds, and I just can't blot it out. So, wristband is a smart bracelet with call reminder, sleep monitoring, calorie consumption, movement distance, anti-lost alarm, and a selfie function. This is one of these, smartwatch, but not an Android smartwatch costing hundreds of pounds. This is one costing about $10, I think. Right, I'll do an unboxing. And that looks quite nice, doesn't it? Smartwatch has a 3-pin connector. Actually, it looks like this thing probably comes out. Yes, it does come out. And there's the smartwatch. That's amazing. Oh, that's coming apart straight away. Looks like, well, I know it's got an OLED. It's also, of course, got to have some sort of lithium cell in it. Is that a button? Yes, that is a button. Don't think it's going to switch on. And also, of course, there's going to have to be a chip in there. That's just a bit of silicon. So what's this? USB to... something... Oh, yes, I think you must clip that in there in order to charge it on those spring-loaded pins. That's all rather nice, actually. Now, I say this is rather nice, but actually the charging cradle's a bit crap, because there are 3 pins there and 3 pins here, and it looks like it is supposed to go this way round, but it doesn't really fit at all. I'm not even sure if this charging cradle is intended for this watch. Oh, perhaps it is if it's in its wristband. Yeah, that's probably it. I should put it back in its wristband, really. Let's do that. Yeah, that's slightly better with it in its wristband. It's kind of laying in there on those pins. Now, is it going to do anything? Oh, it vibrated. It's vibrating. It vibrated 5 times, and it's now saying receiving power. I assume that's what that means. Can I make it boot up? Yes, I can. 12 o'clock. So it's got a clock function. That looks like the battery symbol, which is saying I haven't got any power. So I'm obviously going to have to charge this for a bit before it's going to do anything. Let's take a look at the instructions. Dear customers, welcome to your smart wristband. The smart wristband, a device that measures your daily job and activity with quality products and services. With this device, you can actually experience the excellence and humanization design of the device, bring you a pleasant and enjoyable life. Well, that would be nice. With this high-end and well-designed appearance, the portable multifunction smart wristband is perfect in tracking steps, distance measurement, calorie consumption, blah, blah, blah. Now, it looks like you have to load an app what's it called? It's called Mov Now Plus from Android Market or Apple Store. And then you get, the usual sort of pedometer functions. So there must be some sort of accelerometer chip in here as well in order for it to do calorie counting and all that stuff. Do you know, I'm not sure I can even be bothered to load that app and mess around. I'm just going to take the thing apart, and I'm going to do it right now, because I want to know what chip this is using. I've got a good idea, because it's going to have to be a Bluetooth LE, Bluetooth 4 type of chip. The OLED, of course, is quite a nice thing. Of course, I haven't looked at the price of this thing yet, have I? Aha! Well, there's the little LiPo. It is very, very tiny. 60 milliamp hour. And there's the main chip. Now I'm going to have to get in. Oh, look, there's the motor with the vibrating thing. That's fantastic. Let's get in close. Right, here's the main chip, and it's not what I thought it was going to be. If I can get some light on it. This appears to be, well, it's got a Q symbol, 9021385NY. I thought it was going to be an NRF 58122, is it, or something like that? The Nordic Semiconductor chip with the Bluetooth LE built-in, microcontroller and Bluetooth built in. There's the little vibration motor there. What's that down there? Regulator, that 5-terminal device, possibly. Now there's a chip on the other side down here, and I'm just wondering whether that might be the accelerometer. Let me see if I can get the light on there. It's a bit tricky. I'll come back to that. Well, this one looks like it says 8522 C3H or something like that. 8522. I'll have to do a little bit of a search for that. But those seem to be the only two chips. There's place there for another chip, possibly a memory device. That's not been fitted. So all we have is the main controller and that additional chip. There's a crystal there. Can't quite get the speed of that. Oh, 16 megahertz it looks like. Onboard antenna there. The LiPo, the vibration motor, and of course this tiny little OLED. Neat. And if I switch it on, let's put the magnifying glass in front of it. Oops. It is now 12:08 on the 1st of the 1st. The battery is a bit low, and that obviously doesn't stay on for very long. But so the real-time clock's obviously running. Is there a real-time clock crystal? I thought I saw. No, I didn't. I think I saw the motor there and thought that was a real-time clock crystal. There's a nasty bit of solder splash on one of these internal pogo pins. See if I can get that off without... No, I probably can't get that off without completely trashing the gold-plated copper or shorting the battery out. So perhaps I'll leave that alone and reassemble this thing. Well, it looks like I'm getting some modes now. If I keep pressing the button, fire, moon, the main time display, feet, that's pedometer. Is that a location bubble, Google style? I'm not sure what fire and moon are. But yeah, those are the different modes. And here on the case back, where these pads are, they're actually spring-loaded pogo pins, quite expensive looking they are, and they press down on the pads on the inside, on the PCB, when the back is placed on the unit. So yeah, that seems quite elaborate. So there it is back together, and I mean, even if nothing else, this thing does actually display the time and the date, so it's actually reasonably nice just as a watch. But yeah, maybe I will load all the app onto my phone or tablet or something and see if I can get this thing to talk to that. I'll probably do that in another video. I've got another one of these coming actually, a different shape. But yeah, it's quite interesting to see what's inside it. Oh, we better look at the price and where I got it. So this item is it's an OLED smart wristband bracelet watch pedometer Bluetooth for Android, iOS, orange. It was $9.39. There is an additional $1.99 postage. Where did this come from? This came from O Prima. Okay, let's have one more. Robot. I love robots. Let's cut carefully because this one seems quite tightly packed. But everything inside, I believe, is actually quite loose, as you can see. Bring my camera out a bit. And it is a robot kit. I love toys. Fantastic. I've got a feeling this might be solar powered. I can't remember. So I'm looking for a solar panel. Yes, there's a little solar panel there. Oh, and a teeny tiny motor with a gear on the end of it. I think that's the only sort of electrical stroke electronic element to this. The rest is all gears and plasticky bits that you break off these sort of extruded plastic pieces, and a huge manual showing you how to build all the robots. I love it. So yeah, you can build well, that, a dinosaur, a drilling machine, a robot and an insect. Now you have to be, according to this, 8 years old. Well, that's okay because I'm 8 and a bit. Let's take these out of the bag. This just looks like so much fun. Yeah, so there's the solar panel. Oh, well, actually the solar panel is pre-wired to the motor, so there's no real work to do there. There's no soldering. But yeah, here are the gears to slow the motor down to a reasonable speed. Now the gearbox, I believe, is this. So that'll be fun assembling that. And then these are what? The output wheels, which then drive something else. Oh, some bits are falling off already. Well, that's probably a good thing, actually. So yeah, you get one set of sort of grey transparent stuff and one set of green stuff, and then the gears and some stickers in this bag. I love it. I just love it. Interesting that this thing has no outer box. It just came in a bag which was shoved in a jiffy bag. So maybe what happens is some of the boxes get so badly trashed that they just take everything out and sell these things off on eBay without the outer box, because I mean all the stuff inside is still good. So yes, at some point I'm going to do something very non-electronic, which is going to be a solar powered dinosaur build. So if you're into that kind of thing, well, that will be coming up at some point. Now, would you Adam and Eve it? The sun's been bothering me all afternoon, but now when I want to put some sun on this solar panel to watch this motor go around, the sun's gone in, hasn't it? So massive torch. And yeah, that appears to be working. So the solar robot dinosaur kit is actually a creative DIY 4-in-1 educational learning powered dragon solar robot kit kids toy. It was $9.99, free postage, gender boys and girls, that's good to hear. And that came from Django led 14. And so all of this stuff is today's Postbag. Cheerio!